The following program was produced by the students of the Brian Lamb School of Communication at Purdue University.
On this edition of Fast Track, majors collided at Purdue on election night to bring an educational experience to students and the public, the event, the videos, and the election.
And later, we satisfy our craving for Asian food and step into a new culture at this year's annual Taste of Asia Festival.
We visit the Purdue Foundry to see where many went from student to entrepreneur.
All this and more on this new episode of Fast Track News Magazine.
Hello and welcome to another week of Fast Track News Magazine. I'm Mike Folta.
And I'm Macy Tetrick. November began as a busy month here at Purdue with the Taste of Asia Festival. The Purdue Asian Student Union organizes this event each year so students can experience authentic Asian culture and cuisine right here on campus. Fast Track reporter Xiaohan Liu has more.
Last Saturday, Purdue Asian Student Union Board organized their annual Asian Food Festival, Taste of Asia. This event brought various Purdue Asian student organizations together to celebrate their culture through special and interest cuisine. Naomi Deng and her sorority sisters enjoy the event every year.
So I'm with my sorority sisters because we're celebrating our 15 years. So we just thought it would be nice to hang out together and take them to Taste of Asia because this is such a big event on campus. For today, I guess food is really good and we have really good performance here. And I guess it's just really nice to see how different student organizations representing their own culture background. And it's a just great showcase of diversity on campus.
This event attracted more than 300 students gathered at Catholic Center to enjoy the Taste of Asia. Andy Liao said this event also doing something to their team.
Actually, Taste of Asia, this is our first year doing it, and because I became the VP of Social, Vice President of Social, and I decided this is going to be a really good event to help spread our word for our club. Not only that, but also we get to connect with different clubs too. And ASUP has a lot of connection between that, so I think it's a great opportunity for us. So it's going to be our first year here. Yeah. So I think this event is great because it actually helps people in Purdue campus to kind of understand what Asian culture is and what kind of food we provide. Because I see a lot of people have a lot of misunderstanding of Asian food. It's not always just that kind of Chinese food or Japanese food. There's a lot of different varieties, and I think that's really what's pushing it. And also, I think doing an event like this, it really helps our club chemistry between members because we have to work together. And there's nothing I could not have done this without my board members. So it's really important for us to collab together and then work together as a whole and then get this thing executed.
If you missed out the Taste of Asia last Saturday, don't forget to follow them on Facebook for next.
Purdue specializes in research that is done by the students, for the students, and the Foundry is no exception. For those interested in entrepreneurship, the Purdue Foundry gives a resource to students who need advice on their own business or project ideas. Fast Track reporters Yahaira Martinez and Xiaohan Liu visited the Foundry to see how they help students commercialize their plans.
Over a cup of coffee and conversation, undergraduate, graduate students, and business owners come out to the Purdue Foundry for an event called Foundry Grounds, where they can network with entrepreneurial professionals.
The Foundry is really all about helping Purdue faculty, staff, students, and the Purdue greater community commercialize their intellectual property or the ideas that they have. So we help them discover their business models and look for a path forward for either the technology or idea that they have in the marketplace.
This week's speaker, Ali Kadbi, CEO of Your Iconic Brand, spoke to hopeful entrepreneurs about the importance of building a loyal customer base.
Creating a customer experience that speaks to the heart of your customers, but also having it be smart so that it is a process that your company goes through over and over again consistently is the powerful way to drive loyalty. And loyalty is the most powerful way to drive your business.
Speaking from years of experience, Ali emphasized that it's not only important to focus on launching a product, it's equally important to think about what kind of customer experience you want to create.
I think about it like having a baby. Sometimes you can, you think about getting pregnant, and then you get pregnant, and that's great. And so you're thinking about being pregnant, and then all of a sudden, you've decorated the nursery and you've done all of those things, and then you go to the hospital and you have a baby. And sometimes by the time people bring the baby home, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about the part where we actually had to raise a child. And customers can be very much like that. So you want to think about that experience from before you ever even get your first customer.
Foundry Grounds is hosted every Friday morning, but the Foundry also offers a variety of other events by entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs, aimed at helping to achieve startup success.
I think that what we provide here is a really great community of people who are interested in entrepreneurship, interested in startups, interested in technology. And so just coming here, meeting with us, and learning about what we do is a great way to just get started and introduced to the community if it's something that they're interested in being a part of.
Reporting for Fast Track, I'm Yahaira Martinez.
If you have an idea you'd like to bring to life, visit the Purdue Foundry at the Burton D. Morgan Center for Entrepreneurship on State Street.
Coming up on Fast Track, controversial elections of the past could have been the key to predicting the flip in the House of Representatives. Find out which historic election set the precedent for the 2018 midterms and how it may have helped to predict which color wave hit the House.
Being involved in the 3-year program at Purdue made it easier to say to myself I could get done in 3 years. The 3-year program helped save me a ton of money. Not completing my 4th year, I would save around $30,000. It will give you an advantage, if anything. Doing the 3-year program at Purdue has shown me that I have motivation to do whatever it takes to get my degree.
Welcome back to Fast Track News. Different Purdue departments have spent the last month working together to create a part of history using what they know from their majors combined with live TV and C-SPAN. With a combination of many historical documentaries and a 4-hour live broadcast, these departments and majors sponsored a live and interactive way for students and the public to be a part of the midterm elections. Up next, our first co-producer and how the midterm elections of 1994 may have predicted the outcome of the 2018 midterms. Here's Maggie with the story.
It's an election of monumental, just if you look at it, monumental importance, isn't it? Wouldn't you say monumental importance?
2018 has potential to be a monumental year in American politics. With control of the House of Representatives up for grabs, this could have huge ramifications for public policy in the future. But these stakes are not unprecedented, with the midterm elections of 1994 occurring in a similar political environment.
Senator Ted Kennedy of Massachusetts. And with him, the President of the United States of America.
These environments stem from multiple factors, including discontent with the president and his legislative agenda. These factors make the 1994 elections a fantastic indicator for the upcoming midterms. Both President Clinton and President Trump had low public support at the beginning of their administrations. Each president had approval ratings below 40% in their first summer, according to a public polling from Gallup. This unpopularity is due to the policies each president was pursuing, specifically their focus on healthcare reform. In their first summer in office, both presidents championed legislation in Congress that was designed to change American healthcare.
Today I am announcing the formation of the President's Task Force on National Health Reform.
I will sign an executive order taking the first steps to providing millions of Americans with Obamacare relief.
Both presidents failed, largely because of the unpopularity of their policies, and their opponents have tried to capitalize on that.
There is an inferno raging in Washington. But here in the land of 10,000 lakes, we know how to put out a fire.
Many political ads in 2018 are making the election a judgment on President Trump.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
I just thought you should know.
Ron DeSantis for governor.
This type of campaigning has roots in the 1994 elections. Future Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich sought to nationalize the tone of the 1994 midterms by making local, state, and national elections a judgment on President Clinton. Gingrich achieved this by co-sponsoring the Contract with America, a set of conservative policy proposals Republicans promised to pass if they won a majority in Congress. A focus on the contract gave all Republicans a united voice against the president. This gave the public the impression they were voting against the president, even though he was not on the ballot. Given the similarities between the 1994 midterms and tonight's election, it seems highly probable that a similar result could occur. In 1994, Republicans picked up 54 seats in the House of Representatives, giving Republicans a majority in the House for the first time in nearly 4 decades. Tonight, a similar result could happen in the other direction. Democrats have the potential to pick up dozens of seats in the House and to have a majority in the House for the first time since 2010. Only time will tell whether this prediction proves accurate.
November events continue with the 5th year of Dawn or Doom, which explores the effects of rapidly emerging technologies from artificial intelligence to genetic engineering. The Dawn or Doom conference came to Purdue campus last week, and Fast Track reporters show us how journalism interacts with technology.
Designed to have conversations about how journalists explain technologies and why they are interested, the National Technology Journalist Panel was held at Fowler Hall in the Stewart Center. The panel is part of Dawn or Doom, a 2-day conference features conversations on the risks and rewards of emerging technologies.
And I asked, what do you want me to do? And they said, go and be a city columnist. So I basically have reported on what I feel is either underreported.
The panel was held with Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and professors of sociology, Marina Corin, staff writer at The Atlantic, and writers and editors from Journal and Courier.
My name is Marina Corin, and I'm a science reporter at The Atlantic in Washington, D.C.
Marina Corin is a science reporter from The Atlantic. She said, as a reporter, you need to ask scientists questions in a good way to get good answers.
Yeah, I think when you're covering space exploration in particular, technology, anything that's really complex, it's very important to write it in a very accessible style. And the way to do that is to talk to a lot of people for your story. So for, let's say I'm writing up a new scientific finding, I try to talk to as many scientists about that, both people who worked on it and people who are adjacent or known in their field for that. And basically, I'm just, I'm asking them really dumb questions like, can you say that again? Can you repeat that? Do you have a cool analogy that you use that I could funnel through to my readers? The way to if you as a reporter and a writer don't understand the subject matter, then your reader is not going to. So, the first step is really trying to understand the material, talking to people much smarter than you to explain that material, then kind of coming up with a framework. And only once you've really gotten the science down and you think that you can put it in really concise and accessible language, do you start kind of making the language pretty.
For Purdue students who want to pursue their career on journalism, Marina also provides her professional advices.
I would say that you should take as many opportunities to write as you can. I think a lot of young journalists, because they're more immersed in the news now than maybe they were a decade ago, they see the New York Times or the Post and they want to jump straight to that. But there's really something to be said about finding your student newspaper or local newspaper and writing a couple of columns from them, learning from the students around you, trading secrets, and also getting to know the people within your community. Let's say you're at Purdue for 4 years and you want to write stories about the community. Talk to people here. There's no substitute in reporting for talking to people in person and calling them. So don't be afraid to ask questions and try to write as much as you can.
Coming up on Fast Track News, the birthday of John Purdue himself and how students are still celebrating.
We'll be right back.
One of the things that I really enjoy about being a professor at Purdue and being able to interact with students is that oftentimes I get emails from students several years on after they've graduated saying like, your course changed the way that I look at sport. Your course changed the way that I think about our society. My research focuses on the amount of coverage and the type of coverage of men's and women's sports on televised news and sports highlight shows. What kinds of stories are the media telling about sports, and then how does that inform and impact the way we think about gender and race? My freshman year, everything was about boys football and boys basketball. We didn't have the language or the ability to articulate or to know better that if we were supporting the boys team, we should have been supporting the girls team as well. So I was really interested in kind of learning more about the cultural aspects of why some of those gender differences might exist. The problem that I'm trying to solve is how do we address the larger inequalities within sport that relate specifically to sociocultural factors. For me, that's important. It's just exposing students to a different way of thinking about and seeing their world.
It's no secret that Purdue is celebrating 150 years of giant leaps, and on October 31st, a small crowd gathered to celebrate an even bigger anniversary, the 216th birthday of our university's namesake, John Purdue. Macy Tetrick attended the celebration to find out more about the man who started it all.
After the bell tower chimed noon, students and faculty gathered around the John Purdue statue for birthday cupcakes and a chorus of Hail Purdue from Purdue musical organizations.
Hail, hail to old Purdue, all hail to our old golden flag.
While several people were present for the birthday party, many do not know the history behind the man they were celebrating. Purdue Alumni Association Senior Advisor John Sauter believes it is important to remember our founder's story.
Well, I think it's always good to remember the history, the background of the university you attend, in many respects, even the company that you're going to be working for. You ought to know some things about the background of those institutions in terms of what did it take back then to make those things kind of come together.
Sorry. No, I can't hear it. That's amazing. No, one of my friends is doing it, so I just got my trade test.
John Purdue
Sauter
was
is
born
passionate
in,
about the
1802
university's history and happily shared the personal story of John
He
Purdue.
was born on a farm, but he had a high interest in education. In his family, he had 8 sisters and John Purdue. And so he was kind of early on the man of the family.
Purdue was a working man and started as a teacher. Although he had a passion for education, he decided to move west to make his fortune.
Now we're talking around 1839 or so, so he's 37 years old, fairly young man, but arrives, sees the Wabash River, the steamboats going up and down the river, and he thinks I can make a go of it.
To do this, he started several businesses in his new Lafayette home, including what is now Old National Bank. The most important feat was yet to come, his university.
And so he offered $150,000 and 100 acres if they would locate it here and name it after him. One of his stipulations, he didn't have many stipulations with his gifts, but the 2 main ones were 3 actually. 1, the school be named after him. Second, that he be a permanent member of the Board of Trustees. And third, that when he died, he wanted to be buried on campus, preferably across from University Hall. The gravesite has been enhanced several times. I think there's now a fountain there. In fact, there's even a statue now of good old John Purdue sitting on a bench. That's become a great photo opportunity for a lot of students, particularly at commencement. They like to put their arm around John and have their picture taken.
Thanks to his donation and vision for the future, Purdue had a foundation strong enough to bring the university to 150 years.
John Purdue's fortitude, his being able to look into the future, to see the possibilities.
Macy Tetrick, Fast Track News.
It's almost Thanksgiving, which means it's championship season for men's cross country. Mike Folta has a report on a Purdue squad that's having a special season thanks largely to one remarkable athlete.
My name is Jared Carpenter. I'm from Plymouth, Minnesota, and yeah, I'm a junior here at Purdue on the cross-country track and field teams.
Jarrett's not just any member of the Purdue cross-country team. He's their best runner and a leader for his teammates.
I guess I've kind of taken it as kind of an opportunity to help the team move in a direction that I think is going to get us to the spot that we need to be, as well as kind of what our coach wants us to do. And I feel like I can be that person to help relay the information from coach to the athlete sometimes. So I take it as kind of an honor. And yeah, I just try to kind of lead by example, try to do the little things right so that everybody gets a little bit better every day.
Jarrett certainly can lead by example. He placed first at the NCAA Great Lakes Regional Meet, coming from behind in the last few hundred meters.
He'll be your Great Lakes Regional Champion, Miss Kendall Dugas. Foul.
I just wanted to get out, and what I learned from Big Tens was just kind of relax in the back instead of trying to go to the front and lead, and that saves a lot more energy. Mentally, it's just a lot better. So I just tried to apply that through 8K, and then when the move was made, I wanted to immediately cover it, just telling myself, I'm going to cover the move. Once I do that, then I stay on the move for the next K.5, and then I was actually I've always been thinking about an outdoor 10K race where Ben Flanagan, who is a fellow competitor of mine, won in the last 50 meters of his 10K, and I was just trying to think, like, do what Ben did, kind of don't lead until the last 50, don't lead until the last 100, whatever it is, like until you really see an opening, and then if it's there, then start kicking. Because the race is won in the finish line, not in the 8 to 9K split. So that's kind of what I was thinking throughout the race.
But Carpenter knows he's a part of something bigger. He's helped Purdue qualify for the NCAA championships, something this team hasn't done since 1985.
I think Purdue's had the pieces for a lot of years now. It's tough putting it together, and I think the culture here right now is kind of what really sparked everything. And it's awesome being a part of it because you kind of can look back and say, like, I was on this team that made this difference. And I think the culture that we have right now, it's going to stand. And I think in the years to come, people are going to be seeing Purdue's name in the national boards a lot more just because of this culture that we're building here right now. Just trying to get 1% better every single day.
With one final race remaining, it's already been an incredible year for Jarrett and the Purdue men's cross-country team. Mike Folta, Fast Track News. Jared Carpenter and the Purdue men's cross-country team will compete at the NCAA championships at Madison, Wisconsin this Saturday.
That's all we have for this edition of Fast Track News Magazine. I'm Macy Tetrick.
And I'm Mike Folta. Have a great week.